Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
So we have Soraya Saraswati here. She is a trauma-informed yoga therapist, a TRE facilitator, spiritual teacher, and a yoga nidra expert. In 2009, Soraya lost her 17-year-old son to suicide only 3 years after losing her brother to suicide. This sparked a deep soul search and a powerful awakening to love. Her life has since been dedicated to supporting others to awaken, to remember who we truly are as divine beings, and that our essence is that of love. It is the monkey mind and pattern beliefs we mistakenly identify with that tricks us in believing otherwise. Her work includes releasing who we are not. Through trauma-informed yoga therapy, TRE, yoga nidra, inquiry, and philosophy, Soraya points the way to peace. Soraya is also an author, written a book with the title Shining Through From Grief to Gratitude. I look forward to hearing her presentation now on awakening to peaceful presence. Soraya, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you, Gabrielle. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, and welcome everybody. It's lovely to be here and a great honour as well to be a part of this beautiful global sharing, pointing us back to a place of love and presence. I just thought I'd say a little bit about myself to start with. So I might just do a quick screen share for the first few slides and then just talk spontaneously. Is that all right with you, Gabrielle? Okie dokie. Okay. I think that's up. It's not really supposed to have all my, yeah, is that sharing now? It is. Okay. So my talk today is on awakening to peaceful presence. And as Gabrielle mentioned, I wrote a memoir sharing my story of losing my beautiful son Prem and my brother Gil, both to suicide within 3 years. I also lost my first husband in that way, and raised then my 3 other sons on my own. I thought I'd just introduce you to my family. That's Prem, a picture of beautiful Prem there. And it was just 2 weeks before his 18th birthday. Very sadly, he took his life in a hospital where he'd gone for help, and they would not believe that he was suicidal. He was given a pharmaceutical drug for depression, which unfortunately, being an SSRI drug, had the effect of creating suicidal ideation. And we lost him there. That's the rest of my family down below, my now husband and my 3 other sons and myself. So it's just nice to get a snapshot that we're all people. We're all in this beautiful boat of life together. And I'm sure you have had your hardships as well. You can find my music, which is with my amazing husband, Terry Oldfield, on Spotify and Apple Music as well. Okay, so that's it for my screen share. I'd really like to now talk about our world at the moment, because there's a huge call at the moment for awakening. And those of us that have joined this global sharing have heard that call, and there's many, many other people waking up. And at the moment, we're experiencing a huge chaos as we're going through a global breakdown. And hopefully that's going to emerge into a new way of being. But the next few years could still be pretty rough. At the moment in Australia and prior to 2020, we were losing 8 people every day to suicide. Now, of course, we know that those suicide rates are increasing, and that effect through our communities is devastating. There's even more people than that attempting suicide every day, and many, many more suffering from mental health issues. Our psychologists and our carers, and in my work as well, we are just so busy at the moment trying to support humanity to get through this trauma in a positive way. We know that our elders are calling out the Indigenous community, and I honour our Indigenous forefathers that have walked this land, this beautiful earth, for thousands of years and left nothing but footprints. And we now, in our modernisation and our technological advancement, have created such a destruction on the earth. Now the earth is calling us back to harmony, calling us to cleanse the earth herself through the rivers, through our air, through our oceans, and through all of the beautiful offerings, our forests, and all sentient beings upon this earth. And the pain of Mother Earth and the pain and suffering that we see around us is here too. It's within the heart of humanity. So, how to awaken to peaceful presence, how to call our spirit back and understand who we truly are. And in understanding who we truly are, having a return to love. So this is what I'll be talking about today, and hopefully sharing some insights, some pointings, many of which you may have heard before. But sometimes we need to hear things many times, and then all of a sudden we might just get it. I work with non-duality, and although we live in a world of apparent duality, I see that as consciousness expressing as multiplicity and diversity through all of us, through everything. And of course, non-duality means not two, but one. So all is one here. And of course, if we're causing harm there, there'll be harm here as well, which is why the heart of humanity is crying at the moment. And we hear this call from the people for freedom to be released. But that freedom is not just an outside job, it's an inside job. That freedom has to start right here. And awakening is what we're here to do, and it will happen. And it will happen in right and divine timing. So what keeps us from peaceful presence? We're born into this world as an innocent babe, growing in our mother's womb, already developing impressions depending on the vibration of our mother and what we're hearing in the outside world through her belly, what we're feeling through her emotions. Then we're pushed through the birth canal and we come out into the world, and we're immediately impressed. And those impressions go on throughout our lives, creating beliefs, and programs, through our education, through our parents, perhaps through the religious beliefs that are impressed upon us as well. And also through trauma, through love. We are programmed until we become programmed adults. And very much of that is through the past. It is when we understand who we truly are and begin to drop into absolute presence with no resistance to this very moment that freedom begins to arise. Just as we were born, we were largely innocent. We had some impressions from the time that we spent in our mother's womb, but we were largely innocent at that time. And then slowly, slowly, this little tiny pink wiggly baby is told, you're a Soraya, or you're a Deborah, or you're a Mark. And as we grow, our parents say, oh, little such and such is so like this and so like that. We take on our impressions. We learn everything has a name and a place. And so we develop. And what's developing here is very much the mind. When we're in that beautiful, open sense of being as a baby, all is one. We're still experiencing that oneness. It's only as we grow and learn to separate things out, which of course is necessary so that we can function in this world, but we begin to enter the world of duality, of separation. And we have to deal with this mind, which is such an amazing and brilliant tool, really. However, it can also be our nemesis. So we have this mind that is capable of great beauty, of great intelligence as well. However, it's also a monkey mind. And we can experience between 60 and 90,000 thoughts coming through every single day. Isn't that incredible? And I often liken this mind and the thoughts to a mind train. And that mind train has many, many carriages, 60 to 90,000 carriages. And we're jumping from carriage to carriage every day. And 80% of those carriages are repetitive. They're the same thought. And very often those same thoughts are looping around and around on the mind train, and we're stuck there. We don't realize we can step off the mind train. The mind can recede into the background, that our awareness does not have to be fully identified with mind. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And it is. In the ancient yogic wisdom, we call these mental fluctuations the vrittis of the mind, the ripples that disturb the beautiful, peaceful, calm waters of the lake of the mind. So depending on our history, depending on our culture, depending on our upbringing, we end up growing very often, and sadly not in our society, understanding mindfulness and understanding who we truly are. We grow up, and often, very often, our mind is driving us crazy. And this is understandable because mind and the mental fluctuations of the mind and thought then ignite emotion. And emotion can affect our whole physiological system just as the mind can. and we can move into deep places of trauma, of stress, and of mental anguish. And of course, we would never want this for ourselves. We would never choose this consciously. But those patterns, those programs that we've taken on since birth are largely in the subconscious area. They're not accessible. So we can look at our life and we can see what's playing out in our lives. And we can think, well, I didn't choose this. I wouldn't have chosen it. I wouldn't have chosen a partner that's nasty to me. I wouldn't have chosen a boss who was awful, etc., etc. I wouldn't have chosen to be an alcoholic. But these patterns are deep, deep patterns coming from our subconscious and very often driven by traumas from our past, which have left impressions not only in the subconscious mind, but locked also into our physicality. And I do quite a lot of work, somatic work, helping to release these patterns, these impressions, these traumas that have locked in. When we get a fright, we hold on, we lock those traumas into the physicality. And PTSD plays out very much in this way. So learning through somatic work how to release those patterns of tension and trauma from our bodies can be a great, great boon during this time. And a beautiful quote from a wonderful psychologist and somatic worker, Bessel A. van der Kolk, which many of you would have heard of. I like this. Being traumatized is not just an issue of being stuck in the past. It's just as much a problem of not being alive to the present moment. Not being alive to the present. So we are very often reliving our past, and certain triggers will come up to reactivate the pain body, which is connected to those past traumas. Healing always occurs in present time, in this now moment. When the imprint from the release, the past is released, it no longer causes us pain and anguish. After I lost my son to suicide and also my brother, and since then many others, and now I know so many parents who have children on suicide watch at the moment. And if this is you, please reach out for help. We have wonderful help now available, even if you're calling Lifeline or one of our other helplines which are available in this time. My son died 11 or 12 years ago, so there wasn't very much available at all then. Suicide was not very understood at all. And I was completely shattered. There was nowhere to turn for help. There was a huge veil of shame around dying by suicide. There was confusion. It's a very special, unique, and devastating form of grief itself. So for me, being in the present moment was the only way to survive that grief. Otherwise, I would be reliving that loss over and over again, calling my spirit back to the now moment with loving kindness to myself and to my family, learning deep and profound acceptance then opened a gateway for true forgiveness. Forgiveness of myself. Of course, there was nothing to forgive. However, when we feel that, did I do enough? The mind train starts up. So acceptance goes with forgiveness. Acceptance of what is. And I coined a little term that helped me during that time. Isness is the business, rather than focusing on a past and replaying traumatic events over and over again. Nature is such a beautiful, beautiful gift, because nature is living harmony. This is nature without human intervention. So spending time in nature is a wonderful way to come back into the present moment, to remember the beauty, to remember the love that's offered through a single flower, through a seed rising up out of the warm, dark earth, the sun shining on our face and warming our face, the birds singing to us in the trees. Nature will always bring us back into the moment, feeling our feet upon the earth and feeling that earth connection is also such a wonderful gift. The deep question that comes is, who am I? Who am I, and why my story? And of course, although we all love stories, the story of me can very, very often take us away from this present moment and the unfolding of life as it is right here and now. When we let go of our identification with myself as a limited body mind and open up to the awesomeness that there is one consciousness, and it is expressing here, and it's the same consciousness here as it is there with you and with all of humanity, with all sentient beings, with all that is. When we understand this in its most profound essence, we stop identifying with ourselves as our thoughts. We can observe thoughts. We can be aware of thoughts. We can have that eagle's eye observing thought. If we can observe thought, we are not thought. We can observe this body. We know we have a body. But I am not, we are not limited to this body. Emotions arise, they pass away. Sensations through the five senses arise, they pass away. Deep in meditation, we can experience ourselves without body awareness. What is this? This is the I am presence. This is the sense of being, the sense of alive presence. And in this sense of alive presence, consciousness without an object, consciousness without this subject, there is simply this. So I thought at this point in our talk, it would be really lovely if we do a meditation practice, just a very simple meditation practice, where we can drop in to experience this sense of being, this sense of alive presence, which ultimately we understand is the same in you as it is here. So I invite you now to close your eyes. And if closing your eyes is not comfortable for you, that's okay. Leave your eyes open and just not fixed on anything particular, just in an open, easy gaze. Feel that you are comfortable in the body so that you can be still. And take a deep breath in. And out, feeling the body softening in the seat. And simply notice what your experience is right now. Is the mind peaceful? Is there active thought? Is the body comfortable? Or perhaps there's some discomfort in the body, some pain even. That's okay. We're simply being with what is in this moment. Notice any sounds you may hear coming to you from your environment there. Accepting each sound as it is, without any resistance at all. In the same way, if thoughts arise, let them be there, but no need to jump on the mind train. Step off the train into the neutral space, where you may still be observing in the background that there are thoughts, but there's no focus. In the same way with the body and sensation, there may be some comfort or discomfort, but no need to focus with that. Emotions may arise and pass. All is welcome here, but no need to focus with any of that. Be aware of the breath, for the breath can be your best friend, offering a gateway, noticing the incoming and the outgoing breath. Noticing that our magnificent body is breathing beautifully for us. No effort is required. And now become aware of the aware presence that is noticing all of this. There is a sense of alive presence. the I presence that can notice the body sitting on the chair, that can notice arisings and passings away. But it is identified with none of this. It is the sense of being, the sense of alive, open, aware presence, not limited to body, mind, or any other expression. Mahatma Gandhi said, "The divine radio is always playing. We simply have to be quiet so we can listen and notice." And this sense of alive presence that can observe the witnessing of the playing out of life through object and subject is this free, open, divine radio. Resting in this sense of being. You may notice sometimes a tug of the mind, the body, the emotions. But also notice that there's no need to respond to that, as simply an awareness that you can witness that. We are simply resting now in peaceful presence. And now as we begin to relocalize our awareness, coming back into that noticing of the weight of the body pressing to the chair, the noticing that we can deepen our breath, that we can listen again to all the sounds and localize into that awareness. Fully aware of the body in this time and place. And then gently open our eyes as we're ready. So in this aware presence, which we can drop into at any time, it's that simple. We're free. We can notice then that we have a body, that there is the mental faculty, that incredible and wonderful tool that we've been given to explore the great mystery. We are all capable of this. However, as I discovered this beautiful awakening sometime after emerging from the grieving of losing my son, I also realized that for some of us, our trauma is so deep and so great that this peaceful presence seems inaccessible. And this is what humanity is experiencing now. It's time to remember who we truly are. And there are so many amazing tools for us to overcome the trauma which outwardly we're seeing in the world, but inwardly there's a reflection here, isn't there? We're being called back to living simply. We are too clever. We have become too clever. Simplicity, spending time in nature, dropping into this incredible sense of presence and being. Deep insights simply then arise naturally and freely. For the divine radio is always playing. We've just got to adjust our dials. And of course, the monkey mind will call us back, and down the rabbit hole we'll go again. We'll, as I say, we'll fall in the doo-doo. But learning to pick ourselves up, to remember who we truly are, to tap into this deep sense of presence, this peaceful presence. This is our way forward. And as I said initially, peaceful presence is our nature. Chaos is not our nature. Peaceful presence expressing as love itself. And then the beautiful expressions of love, compassion, kindness, brotherhood, sisterhood. These are just simply naturally there. There's no effort to be forgiving, for there is ultimately nothing to forgive. We are all perfect in our imperfections. So if we can drop the masks we've been wearing, I am this, I am that, and remember, I simply am. I am love, if anything. It's not that we need to learn anything new, ultimately, it's to let go. This is the great undoing, the great unraveling. And we're all here to awaken. Even those who we may see are doing what is called evil in the world, they too are me. So all I can do is clear here, clear, clear, clear. Remember truth, honesty, harmony. And drop back into peaceful presence. Thank you. Thank you, Gabrielle. I think our time has come to an end.
Soraya, it has been an absolute honor to share this time with you. And I felt your love for all, for all peoples, for all natures. And, your message of that harmony, peace, and love happens right here. We all want that for the world, and that's the movement we're on this journey through the festival. But your message that it happens right here in the I Am is just so profound and powerful. And, knowing that we're one consciousness, you brought that across beautifully. I really enjoyed your meditation too. And I believe time slowed down during your presentation.
Thank you so much.
It felt like that, certainly. So I cannot thank you enough for being part of this journey of the festival. And I do hope that you can join us at 3:30 later on track 1. We'll have a closing with all the speakers, which would be wonderful. And maybe even join us on the journey for next year's festival. We'll be in touch.
I think it's wonderful that you guys are offering this. It's just such a beautiful birthing and offering to humanity, and let it spread. Let us all hold hands and walk each other home here. Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Soraya. Thank you. It was awesome presentation. I very relate as well. You know, our teams is very close to talk about this connection back to nature and understanding that soul in here, because we also have nature here inside of us too. So, and that's the back home, back home here to us, to our hearts. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see you've got a beautiful nature background there. This is the bamboo, and I live in the forest.
Oh, where do you live?
And this bamboo's on our property here.
So this one here is actually from where I live. I'm from Tweed. So this is made here from a historic site here, very close to where I live. So we have like these Bundjalung tribes. So it is a preserve, a place there where we can go there and visit, and they have this beautiful forest with all this beautiful energy. So I think it was very nice to bring, a bit of my of this energy of this land that I'm here to bring a bit of the nature.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. I mean, everything's been so beautiful. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.